You know, everything's happened for a reason. In September, I'm going to show the world what greatness look like.
Fight fans, welcome back.
The two great fighters in our generation.
Change your tune on wanting this fight over the years. Originally, you didn't want it. Why is now the right time for this fight?
After that somewhat lackluster Williams-Skull fight, the narrative once again appears to swing full circle.
We can all see it. Canelo's declining. We can see it.
I said we back.
That version of Canelo Alvarez last night, that guy's probably going to lose the fight.
There's a select few, however, that have a much better idea than you and I.
But he has power. He dropped me, you know.
They've been dazzled by the hand speed.
And there goes again to the body!
They've witnessed the IQ in real time.
It's like a surgeon, you know.
And they've felt the power, or at least what they can remember of it.
I think Canelo would have knocked the horse that much with that shot.
So here, in chronological order, we'll gather the opinions of former foes. We'll keep a tally and explain what we learned from each night to prove that what initially looked like a one-sided beatdown might actually be a much, much closer fight than we first anticipated.
How would you weigh it up? 50-50, if I'm honest. Yeah, genuinely.
Has Canelo even been hit half as hard as you can hit him?
I don't think so. There's nobody that he's been in the ring with that's going to hit him as hard as I'm going to hit him, so.
Six-time champion of the world.
When they fought back in 2012, Shane Mosley represented Canelo's first true leap of faith.
Obey my commands. Good luck. Touch glove. Let's go to work.
A 21-year-old rising superstar against a 40-year-old future Hall of Famer. He made it awkward from first to last, but Sugar Shane was a lot slower than we'd seen in recent years.
Mosley throwing more and Alvarez landing more.
And Canelo would take advantage, hitting him cleaner and more often than he'd ever been hit before.
Again, terrific fight. The entire crowd is on its feet.
Fast forward to 2023, Mosley was giving Bud praise in the run-up to the Spence fight.
You know, he's been there a long time. He has the speed, the power, and like I said, the know-how, the ring generalship. He has all the tools, you know, of a great fighter. He is a great fighter.
But the tone immediately switched as the idea of a future Canelo-Crawford fight was presented.
Could you ever see Bud versus Canelo fight?
I think that if Canelo and Bud were actually the same size, whatever, Bud will have the advantage, but I think that Canelo has the advantage because he's a lot bigger than Bud.
Thank you, everybody. Viva Mexico!
We're scheduled 12 rounds of boxing. Champion versus champion. Undefeated fighter versus undefeated fighter.
1 year later, a very different set of skills came in, attempting to derail the Canelo hype train.
So as a fan, I do like watching Canelo. As a fighter, you know, he's not going to hit me with none of that. I feel like I could turn him all night, let him run into something ugly. I feel like Canelo's not on my level.
Austin Trout was a slick, unbeaten Texan that would provide the perfect platform to an eventual Floyd Mayweather fight.
Canelo Alvarez looking to defend and unify the titles.
It was a bull versus matador affair as billed, but it also allowed Canelo to show us more of what he had.
Remember, we are in Texas. It's been known as a cauldron of controversy when it comes to combat sports.
And if he wasn't already, then he was certainly a fan favorite now.
Distance fight, we're going to the judges' scorecards here in Texas.
Trout felt Canelo's power in true chicken dance style, but his opinion still swung the other way regarding a September mega fight.
Crawford's a monster. He's a strong dude. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he. I'm never gonna go against Crawford for real. If he believes it, then I believe it. Damn it.
What do you tell Miguel Cotto tonight if you're watching this video?
Use your jab.
You think that's his key to win? What does Canelo need to do to win?
I can't tell you that if we got a bet.
For his 48th fight, another Hall of Famer laced up against the Golden Boy.
This is going to be really good for all the fans, and no matter if you are Puerto Rican or Mexican, you are going to enjoy tomorrow.
This time it was Miguel Cotto, another exciting style with a huge fan base and enough power to make it interesting.
Miguel Cotto has great timing on his jab, and he is frustrating Canelo Alvarez with his
sharp timing right now.
Uppercut. Canelo is really doing some great things to cause Cotto some issues right now.
This one was a fight with very little clinch work or fighting on the inside, just an assortment of clean, flowing combinations and technical decision-making from two of the sport's smoothest operators.
And come with a beautiful left uppercut up the middle. I thought only me and Roberto Duran could do that, but I see that Canelo has it too.
Ultimately, youth prevailed. And while the Puerto Rican didn't exactly pick a side in a recent interview, he put the higher praise and shock factor in favor of the smaller man.
Can Crawford come up to like 168 pounds and fight Canelo?
You know, who knows? But the setup of skills that Crawford had can cause a lot of trouble for Canelo.
All right, fight is in the 140-pound weight class where Crawford owns a title belt. Many expect him ultimately to move up to the more glamorous welterweight division.
Another year on, we saw Crawford preparing for his most provocative opponent to date. So where the excitement continues, the humbleness ends here. Lundy was tough, durable, and backed himself going into any fight, but he was also guilty of verbally writing checks that his fists couldn't cash.
He actually shorter than what I thought. Oh, we can work with that. That's easy money.
Despite a strong, assertive start, Crawford would slowly figure him out.
They don't like each other, you can feel it, and the fight is likely to break out again.
And that initial confidence was systematically beaten out of him by the sixth.
Down goes Hank Lundy on a Crawford left hand. Wailing away at Lundy in the corner, and Willis is going to stop it.
Having fallen under the radar, Lundy only officially retired last April, but it's an opinion that's still as valid as any.
Him being a dog he is, and real recognizing real, he chasing greatness, and I respect it, but to me it's too much of a jump up and wait.
It is not often that two superstars of a sport face off at the peak of their careers. This is one such event.
Next up, 3 months later, came the pair's only mutual opponent. Amir Khan, the fastest hands in the business, and another man that never turned down a challenge.
One thing that I've noticed from Amir Khan is that he's too brave for his own good. He will stay in front of you, he will land combinations, he will want to give the fans an exciting fight.
The Brit fought Canelo in 2016. He had a surprising amount of success in the early rounds. But it was all taken away from him in a split second.
Tricky style.
The Crawford fight came 3 years later, but this time the success was minimal.
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit. Clean.
The Nebraskan took control early, forcing what many believed to be a no-moss ending for Khan, following a questionable low blow.
It's been waved over, he said he can't carry on because of the low blow.
It's an opinion that has changed a little over the years, maybe due to recency bias. But Amir now favors elusivity over punching power.
I wish him all the very best, and I think he can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One thing about Terence Crawford, he has great box IQ.
Yeah.
His IQ is so perfect where he'll see everything, so yeah.
Two undefeated fighters on the line, the WBO welterweight championship.
To close 2018, Terence Crawford's homecoming provided plenty more chaos.
And I hope he swings faster than what he swung today because I seen that punch coming a mile away.
Aggression is in the Benavidez DNA, but the clash of characters against Jose Jr. pushed emotions to the boiling point.
He said we all bark but no bite. Come Saturday, he gonna find out how hard I bite.
In the place it mattered most, both men kept their heads. But Crawford's patience, punch variety, and ring IQ allowed him to take control.
What a huge right hand, and he has done it!
Benavidez gave credit where it's due in the aftermath, and he too picks brains over brawn for September.
All these fighters that go in there to fight Canelo, they already go in there scared, is what I believe, that which already beats him, So Crawford's gonna go in there to fucking win. He's not gonna go in there to fucking lose. So I have it going Crawford, bro, to be honest with you.
The most magnetic matchup of 2019 in the classic and fabled middleweight division.
Another instant classic came when Alvarez met the Miracle Man in Vegas, and this time it was Canelo on the receiving end of some pre-fight hostilities.
I feel like I'm the best middleweight in the world, and that right there, he gonna get it tomorrow. Watch that shit. Back that. Let's go.
Me entiendan porque es puro mexicano. Que chingue a su madre.
This is what it's all about. You just don't know. Middleweight championship of the world. Canelo Alvarez defending against Daniel Jacobs.
Just like Crawford, however, he would use it to his advantage, and this one was a Canelo masterclass.
Look at him slip all these shots. The hardest thing to do in the ring.
Head movement, defensive finesse, and offensive composure that would ultimately give him the edge in a close-fought encounter.
Canelo Alvarez waves to the crowd in what looked like just an outstanding performance.
Jacobs is another one that stuck around, fighting until last July, just long enough to provide his opinion on boxing's biggest showdown.
There's weight, there's power, there's skill. I believe that Terence Crawford has the skills to beat Canelo.
I want to remind you, protect yourself at all times, obey my commands. God bless you both.
To see the year out, Canelo would make his own weight jump, stepping up to face Sergey Kovalev.
Canelo Alvarez, the middleweight champ, moving up, and you can think a lot of things, but you don't know, fellas, until they get in there and fight.
The Russian was never quite the same after the Ward losses, but he was still an extremely dangerous assignment.
With Kovalev's strength and power advantages, he can end the fight at any moment.
Kovalev did start strong, using his physical advantages, but he wasn't quite committing to his shots the way we were used to. And eventually, as his speed and stamina started to dwindle, Canelo smelt blood.
Terence Crawford wants to fight Canelo.
Sergey's reaction to Canelo Crawford reflected how 95% of the boxing community felt at the time, and his words, coming from experience, hit hard.
So he's the best pound-for-pound fighter, but if he will move up, he can beat Canelo.
You think so?
Yeah. But I don't know how he will be comfortable, in this division.
Bud Crawford, sort of a human weapon, a man so determined and committed to his job.
Crawford's next test would be a mini version of Kovalev.
Kaviaskis is no pushover. He's been wanting this fight for a year.
Mean Machine was a humble, unassuming all-rounder that brought a lot more than meets the eye.
What do you have to do? How do you beat a Crawford? I mean, the orthodox out pressure, do you box him?
I'm knock him out.
You're gonna go for the knockout?
Yeah, I will go for a knockout, of course.
Bud throws at the same time as his opponents, something that usually, with his IQ and angles, works in his favor.
See, the patience of Kaviaskis is getting to Terence right now.
But this time, in his first true moment of adversity, it worked against him.
Oh, Kaviaskis comes forward!
He got knocked down. He wanted me to got knocked down, but that was a knockdown. He got hurt a couple times.
And Bud Crawford was hurt!
The Lithuanian made it tough, but Crawford always finds a way.
He can handle himself and he can punch, but Crawford is a great fighter in his prime.
There's been mutual respect ever since, but Mean Machine still doesn't fancy the Nebraskan's chances up at 168.
I hope they're not going to make that fight. I don't think Crawford it's a good idea for Crawford to move up and wait and fight Canelo.
No.
I don't think so. Canelo is just too big, too good.
I believe, the team believe, that we're going to take that title away from him. We believe that he's not boxed anyone at my level, and we're fully focused on ripping that title away from Terence Crawford.
There's been no soft touches for Terence Crawford, and his 37th fight would come against another game Brit that had given plenty of world-level fighters hell.
ESPN.
Kell Brook was past his best, so it's hard to know which version really showed up.
See, his jab is giving Terrence Crawford problems, and Terrence goes southpaw.
And despite some early successes, Crawford's ability to switch stances, adjust on the fly, and then capitalize made all the difference.
And still!
Interestingly, after this fight, Crawford shut down the idea of a future Canelo fight.
No, I don't never think me and Canelo will fight. He's, 168?
And while holding his former foe in the highest regard, Brook too struggles to see past those physical advantages.
He's like a surgeon. He's got it all, you know what I mean? But so has Canelo, you know. So it's one what I'd definitely be interested in seeing for sure, but I'd probably have to lean towards Canelo.
You believe you can stop Canelo Alvarez? We've seen him got a great chin against the likes of Gennady Golovkin and your brother and Danny Jacobs and Kovalev as well. Do you think you have the size and the power to get him out of there inside the distance?
Another tall order was presented to close 2020 as Canelo this time faced the taller and harder hitting Smith brother.
Can he do what no fighter has been able to do since Floyd Mayweather?
This one brought more of the same. A mutual respect in the build-up.
I respect him, but I don't fear him. I'm here to beat him.
Followed by pure class in the ring.
Callum Smith just landed an uppercut. That was a nice shot, but Canelo comes back and he is throwing much harder.
Smith offered some resistance, soaking up everything that came his way, but the slips, counters, and head movement highlighted another marquee Canelo performance.
You know what, Sergio, Canelo just provides such a tight package coming at you. And then when you throw a shot, if he's able to move or counter, it's just so difficult to beat him.
Since then, based on the eye test and his own experiences, Smith only sees the eventual Crawford fight going one way.
Charlo's a massive 154, and he was bullied by Canelo on the night. Yeah, I think Crawford's probably got more ability than Charlo, but there's only so much size your ability can make up for, and I just think Canelo might be that naturally a little bit too big for him.
He realizes that he's got somebody who's the real deal in front of him and not just here to pick up a check.
By this point, few even bothered trying to intimidate Canelo anymore, and when Caleb Plant stepped to him on stage, we found out why.
No, it's okay.
It was a swing and a miss that only heaped more pressure onto the American.
He will feel something different, believe me.
Protect yourself at all times. Obey my command. God bless you both. Touch up.
But also an air of defiance that kept him hungry for the first half of the fight.
Canelo says this is the most important fight of his life at the end of his career. He wants to be considered one of the all-time greats.
Canelo would, however, be rewarded for his efficient work and clever pressure, taking his man into deep waters and then drowning him. No bad blood left the arena that night, but Sweet Hands still refuses to pick a side regarding Crawford.
Terrence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, and it's exciting. Yeah.
Who you got, though?
I'm just a fan that night, watching.
A lot of these guys just didn't want to fight you. Meantime, Canelo's the money man. He's getting all these boxers in the ring. And now when people ask me, I say, I suspect that Bud Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
2 weeks later, it was Bud's turn. And this time, friends became rivals as Sean Porter came to test his chin, his engine, and his heart.
In the ring with me, he's not going to have his way. He's not going to be able to be comfortable the way that everyone else has allowed him to be comfortable. This is the big test. Now the test is coming, and we'll see what happens.
As expected, Crawford's work was cleaner, but Porter's work rate and underrated skill set made it difficult.
There's Porter coming in with that relentless aggression that he's known for.
An iconic moment would come just before the start of the 10th.
Yeah, come on. Hey, we gotta
go. And just 60 seconds later, it was all over. Since then, on his Porter Way podcast and in various interviews, there's been a ton of Sean Porter gems regarding Crawford Canelo.
Canelo's gonna cover up. He's gonna let you bang on him, and he's gonna try to rip off. But Crawford's fast. He can get in and get out. I do believe Crawford can win the decision. And with Crawford, we've learned, don't blink.
It feels crazy that 3 years have already passed since the Mexican star took his own leap of faith against Bivol.
I would never bet against Canelo Alvarez, but I'll tell you what, Dimitri Bivol has been so calm all week, you know, so I give him every chance in this fight, but he's fighting arguably one of the greatest fighters of all time.
Dimitri was hugely overlooked in the build-up, and it opened just like any other Canelo fight.
There's an uppercut again that just misses.
Where most opponents eventually showed moments of weakness or nerves, the Russian gave him nothing.
Look at him go! Oh my word, Bivol! And Canelo wants more of it!
Not only that, he pushed him back, teed off, and kept a 12-round sharpness that nobody expected.
Canelo Alvarez was a big favorite!
A modern-day blueprint might be there now for Crawford, but Bivol knows exactly how difficult of a task it would be for a smaller man to execute.
Your former opponent, Canelo, what do you think of reports of him fighting Terence Crawford?
It could be a really good fight, but too big difference between weight classes, of course.
Being strategic, being disciplined, and following all the way to the finish line.
Now a promotional free agent, the Spence fight loomed.
I think this is the biggest fight since Mayweather-Pacquiao.
The only thing in the way, a WBO defense against tricky operator David Avanesian.
Everybody in boxing around the world has been calling for Spence and Crawford.
This is no easy fight for Crawford. It's no work and it's not for Crawford.
The Armenian style ensured fireworks on the night. But Crawford dealt with it how a champion should. He got comfy in the kitchen and used angles and his own relentless work rate to beat Avanesian at his own game.
Here goes Crawford. He's on the front foot now. This crowd is rallying behind him. Avanesian trying to stay in the pocket.
And when he needed a statement most, he got it.
Crawford's taking it off the gears.
Body shot.
When asked about the fight in recent interviews, David shut it down in a mixture of can't pick, won't pick responses.
Into this fight, I see this fight.
Who wins?
Difficult question. I don't know.
July 29th, history will be made for the first time in the four-belt era.
When the two biggest fish in the welterweight pond met in the summer of 2023, the boxing world finally got what it wanted.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the bout the boxing world has been waiting for.
Errol Spence's car crash threw an air of uncertainty on the fight.
Everything that Errol Spence has been through with the accident, with the eye injury, even in the last fight.
But ultimately, Terence Crawford once again made his toughest test on paper look like another day at the office.
To the head and the body.
Impeccable timing, razor-sharp reflexes, and the ability to bully the bull. A career-defining victory that Spence never really recovered from, and one that makes it hard for the Texan, having felt it, to bet against.
If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, you know. So I'll be going for Bud, you know, if he fight Canelo.
We've got these excellencies team already planning the future. I'm telling you on Saturday night, this man is about to give everything. This will be the toughest fight of Terence Crawford's career.
Terence's most recent outing would act as a trial run for the big step up.
Whenever you deny Terence Crawford, he comes out and shows you exactly what you've denied. So I think he's going to take control early and leave it that way.
It would come at 154 against Israel Madrimov, another man that was too skilled and too hungry to let Bud have it all his own way.
Well, your eyes don't deceive you. Terence Crawford looks just as big, if not bigger. and Israel Madrimov.
We knew the Uzbek's feet and power would make him a tricky customer.
Good right hand from Madrimov.
What we didn't realize is that he also had the smarts and the toughness to hang with Crawford.
He overextended himself and Crawford made him pay. Crawford fans think he's done enough to get the job done.
A razor-close fight all the way to the final bell that left the boxing world with mixed reviews.
How viable still to you is a Canelo fight?
I don't think it looks like a great idea after tonight.
Madrimov, surprisingly, felt otherwise.
Crawford too is smarter guy. I think it's 12 rounds. Maybe win Crawford.
I think Crawford has showed himself to be extremely dangerous to someone like Canelo Alvarez over the years. For the first time, we've seen that Crawford isn't as dangerous as we may think. He may have fought himself into that fight with Canelo.
And then, to set things up properly, came Berlanga, a hard-hitting underdog that brought Canelo another dose of pre-fight fire.
No, you're gonna see.
Take it easy.
No, I'm gonna
Take
you
it
up.
easy. Take it easy in way because your turn is coming.
You're gonna see. Your time comes.
Huge for the 168-pound division, Edgar would balloon up to 193 by fight night.
As a reminder, obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck.
And while the extra size allowed him to absorb a lot of what Canelo was throwing,
Poking that bear over and over again.
Crawford watched from ringside as a lightning left hook sat the youngster down in the third. Ultimately, a landslide victory for Alvarez, and enough of a showing to merit the Puerto Rican's nod of approval for September.
I truly believe, that, anything can happen in boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger.
He say he's gonna eat me, but the only thing he's gonna eat is gonna eat this. Look, this. Everybody talks shit, but when they step in the ring, it's gonna be something different.
And last up, and probably least in terms of entertainment value, came the recent Williams Skull fight.
For the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world.
A night where Canelo struggled to close the gaps, but his trademark head and body movement kept him on the right side of a points decision.
There's a left hook from Canelo. That school momentarily stops moving.
Oh, that's why I don't like to fight that kind of guys. They can just to survive to go to the 12th round.
The only positive from a fight which drew the all-time lowest punch output is that we finally got a chance to see the pair eye to eye in the aftermath. And where the Cuban preferred not to pick a side, his analogy for a fight which now divides fans more than ever summed it up perfectly.
He's faced Canelo now. He knows what Canelo's about. What happens in that fight?
Well, I really have nothing much to say. Boxing is like a Pandora's box, so it's about to wait and see.